new research into how punishment systems are used in schools has found that 1 in 12 secondary pupils say they're put into isolation rooms at least once a week, where they often spend in excess of 8 hours. Now, the researchers say the new study shows that the practice is more widespread and harmful than parents or school leaders realise. Nadia, what do you think about putting kids in isolation?
I think the thing is, if we
There's got to be a reason for it, right?
Yeah, but I think that, you know, the reasons are vast, aren't they? I mean, you know, we know that schools are overcrowded. I've got a number of friends who are teachers. It's getting more and more difficult, especially post-pandemic. Kids are behaving in a very different way. Kids are staying up late. We see it on Yorkshire, Educating Yorkshire, staying up really late all night on their phones and then drinking Red Bull and coffee on the way in to stay up. They've got so many things going. Drugs are much bigger thing. And this is really real. This isn't like, we might all want to say, yeah, but not really. You know, I talk to a lot of young people as well that tell me exactly what it's like in a lot of these schools. Teachers are being tested all the time. Kids are being tested all the time. Kids are told that if you don't get these GCSEs, you know, your life is over. So a lot of kids are immediately, like, demotivated. Well, you know, I'm never going to get my maths GCSE, my life is over kind of thing. So I think teachers have got an absolute nightmare dealing with it.
And there were specific groups, of course, that particular, you know, so children with special educational needs are more than twice as likely to be placed in isolation.
Well, if you've got somebody with ADHD, and both you and I will know about this, and who's jumping about and can't sit still, and you put them in an isolation, because what they are, you're in like there's 2 walls like that. That wouldn't have done anything for me. I would have gone mad. Would it have done anything for you?
Horrendous. Like, I mean, we didn't have that set up when I was at school, because I was trying to, like, educate myself this morning on what that is. What we used to do back when I was at school is they'd put your desk in the hall if you couldn't stop talking, and obviously I spent most of my time in the hall because I couldn't stop talking. If they'd put me in isolation like that, I probably would have, like, literally eaten a pencil case. Like, I would have been up the wall, because I found it very hard to sit still and, you know, very quiet. That's why exams, like the typical exam setup, I found very stressful, and I'd start sweating and you know, and picking my nails. I hated it. So I think for some children,
so what did they do with you?
Used to put me in the hall, but then they would change over lessons, and I'd get loads of interaction with people changing.
I mean, you mean in the corridor?
Yeah, drag my desk out. And then they'd get people coming past, going to the toilet and have a chat with them. I quite liked it. Got a bit of change of scenery. It was great. But I mean, teachers have the hardest job in the world. I mean, now more than ever, and I think they are so up against how to manage children, how to help them to learn. And for some children, maybe being removed from a distracting classroom might work. But if you're neurodivergent, I can't imagine it being successful at all.
Teachers are leaving in their drives. They don't feel supported.
It's so...
But that's the thing. Because I have a baby now, and I wonder, what way do you solve this, right? And I think for me as a mom, it's really important that she knows that if you do something wrong, there are repercussions, that there must be some consequences must be paid. But then I wonder, does this isolation really work? Because my school was really strict. Like, you we're talking in the hall. We weren't allowed to talk in the hall. You would get a whole house. You're not allowed to talk.
But you'd walk in silence through the...
We would walk in silence. There's a teacher standing there outside when the students are changing classes. Yeah, it was very strict. And, like, for us, it was cool to actually be a good girl. That was, like, that's when you were most popular. The doctors, the engineers, the lawyers. That, for me, was cool. So...
I mean, this wasn't a private school. It sounds like private school when you say that.
No, it's not. It's the government school.
In South Africa.
Shout out, Girls High. But... I wonder, as a parent, if you say to me, your child wasn't behaving and I put them in isolation and I know they can't deal with that, is that really helping? Does it really help?
What would have happened, though, in South Africa if you weren't behaving at school and you talked in the hall pass? What would the parents then have taken over?
Yeah, detention, and they call your parents and then you get a letter. And then you're known for being that girl. And,
and it wasn't...
So there was shame attached to it.
Do you think also being single-sex helped them control you guys a little bit more?
Probably, because we were girls, and, you know, girls were just like...
But they do say girls in just girls' schools do better, don't they, than in mixed schools?
Well, these isolation... units, there's no government policy on this. The government doesn't support or condone it. So,
So that means people.
It's something that individual schools are doing.
Right.
But, you know, Tom Bennett, he's a former teacher and advisor for the Department of Education. He said, when students persistently disrupt lessons, you have no choice. You know, what other choice do you have?
It's effectively being left off.
Yeah,
it's difficult
because it means that no one's learning.